on the road to MotoGP. This is FAB-Racing.
Things are about to get extreme though, Lewis, as the Extreme 200s are on their way out, and suddenly we're on big bikes.
Yes, suddenly we are. Big bikes and big racing, to be honest. It's an open class. Almost anything goes in this class. It's going to be a great weekend of racing for these guys. We always see a lot of talent in this class, actually. The likes of Casey O'Gorman and Sullivan Mountsie are here to duke it out. They've all the way throughout practice, all the way up through qualifying. There's been tenths of a second separating them. There's Sullivan Mountsie actually pulling up and doing a little stoppie to the line. So yeah, completely different types of motorcycles, as you can already see from the first two bikes in the picture.
Absolutely. So what's the attraction for the riders to come and use these machines and take part in this mixed class effectively?
Just a bit of fun, to be honest. Majority of these riders, they race in other championships outside the FAB, so they want to come here, have some fun. Casey O'Gorman looking behind him, you can just see his eyes through his tinted visor, the focus that he already has, and himself and Sullivan Mountsie are both on Bucky Motos, I believe, so identical motorcycles. What is going to happen? Let the fastest rider win. Number 67, Casey O'Gorman, heads out on his warm-up lap and will start in pole position. So Casey O'Gorman,
problem away from the line there for Ronnie Harris, I think.
Yeah, number 66, Ronnie Harris, having some issues, but he manages to get that KTM 85cc going. But it's going to be Casey O'Gorman who starts from pole position with Sullivan Mountsie alongside him. Ronnie Harris, who we've just seen having a slight issue off the line, starting in third, with Luca Allen in fourth. Zach Tureen will start in fifth position with Noah Gilroy in sixth. So a great grid. And in seventh position will be Adam Redden with Philip Soroviak alongside him. Philip Soroviak not as far up as what he would maybe like, with Ben Ridwell in rounding off our grid in our 9-bike grid. So not a big grid, no, but I am sure we're going to see some great racing. I can almost bet that we're going to see some great racing.
Bit of an all-stars situation going on then as they come up and they get down into the pit boxes. They do leave it very, very late. Some last-minute flexibility exercises going on as well, particularly for Luca there. And he's lining himself up ready to try and get right in the mix here in the first couple of corners.
Lights are on. And the lights are off. You can just hear how loud those bikes are. Casey O'Gorman looks away from Sullivan Mountsie, but Sullivan Mountsie straight away. He looks so aggressive. He wants to try and pass Casey O'Gorman. And the key is in this race not to let the other rider get into a rhythm. Look at Allen, rounds off our podium position at the moment, but Ronnie Harris just behind Zach Tureen, trailing them in fifth position. Only 9 bikes in this Extreme 200 class, but as you can see already, nothing separating them. Philip Soroviak not in his usual KTM 85cc. He's actually borrowed a bike this weekend, so Harry Payne's bike this weekend. So Casey O'Gorman leading the way at the moment from Sullivan Mountsie. Now Sullivan Mountsie, both of them on very professional outfits at the moment, both of them looking very professional, almost identical helmets. Casey O'Gorman of course using the iconic white helmet with a little bit of green and orange for the Irish flag, of course, coming from Ireland. So what can Casey O'Gorman do? Well, right now it's just lead the race and set the fastest lap of the race so far. Of course, Casey O'Gorman is showing his talent right now. Of course, he is the Talent Cup champion of a couple of seasons ago in British Talent Cup. Right now he's racing in Junior GP for the Michael Laverty Visit Track Academy team, and also racing in the Red Bull Rookie Championship, which he battled for the race win just 1 week ago in Portugal. So a great time to see Casey O'Gorman here, of course supporting his brother Ollie O'Gorman, who we'll see racing later on today.
That's right, and trading fastest laps between the front two. Sullivan Mountsie is not content to live with second here. He's absolutely full bore for the win here today.
He certainly is. The number 4 Sullivan Mountsie trailing behind, trying to find any way past. As you can see, he's just trying to find a different line, different approach to the corner, and you can see how much tighter he was there and how much faster he was in the X. So what does Sullivan Mountsie do? Can he get ahead? It doesn't look like it. It's such a tricky section to pass on, especially whenever we get to the Extreme 200s and the pit bikes and the moto team classes, when there's slightly different motorcycles, slightly bigger motorcycles. You're going even faster through that section. So will Casey O'Gorman pull the pin, or has Sullivan Mountsie got the pace to catch him? We're going to have to wait and see. Both of them last time around, 2,000ths of a second separating their lap time, so it just proves how much they're pushing. And Sullivan Mountsie on the number 4, raced in the British Talent Cup last season, is showing why they race the British Championship, because they are so quick.
Corner. Looks like he's going to try and get level here. The next major turn, and this is for the lead, and he outbrakes himself. Unfortunately, that bit well managed there from Casey O'Gorman, who recovered that first place, but that was attempt number 1, Lewis.
Yeah, it certainly was. These bikes, of course, have a 4-stroke motor, and the engine braking is so strong. With both these riders being Talent Cup and Casey O'Gorman's case, a Red Bull Rookie rider, both on Grand Prix machinery, you really learn to use the rear brake in your bike. So maybe that's what he was doing there, just back shifting one too many on the rear brake, and the rear end just slipped, re-gripped, and luckily didn't slide away or side, because that would have been massive. But as you can see, you can't say he's not trying. You can see how aggressive he is through his section. Once again, the rear end skipping and hopping, actually. They go through the rise before they can go into sweeping right, then left, then right to power onto the back straight before the final corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think Mounty has got a little bit more speed here. He's took right up behind Casey O'Gorman, but Casey not giving any kind of quarter. There's no hint of a mistake just yet, and he was super calm under that a little wheelie there from Mounty. Yeah, Casey O'Gorman very calm in the lead.
Yeah, Casey O'Gorman calm in the lead right now because he's used to in the lead and having so many riders around him with such little separating them. So Silva Mounty taking a different line through this section every single time, just trying to find any way past. But yeah, Casey O'Gorman crashed just last year, actually, whenever he was racing in his KTM 85cc, just at his corner, at the final corner. Oil got in his rear tyre and down he went. He threw away the race win. Well, he did. He had a mechanical issue, but Silva Mounty right now is wanting to take away that race win. Casey O'Gorman, he just looks strong. Although Silva Mounty in this early stage looks like he might have slightly more pace in the bag, he's definitely pushing a bit more, and you have to wonder, what does Casey O'Gorman have left in the tank?
Yeah, absolutely. Just an update on the rest of the field then. 4.7 seconds to the back from this battle for the lead is Luca Allen, Ronnie Hallis, Philip Suriak, Zach Turian, Noah Guillory, and Adam Redding, Ben Ridgewell. They've all 9 cars and way out on the grass, and unfortunately rider down. That is Sullivan Mounty. Tried to hold on to it, Lewis, but he just didn't make it.
Yeah, he used all the track and then some there, so you can see there he's absolutely distraught with that. His knee slider is also hanging off his left knee slider. So what a big crash that was. That was on the back straight of the circuit. He's absolutely distraught with that incident there. It was a great battle for the race lead, but yeah, you can just see the knee slider hanging on to his lever. It's just a little bit of a limp. But there is your race leader. There is Casey O'Gorman. He won't know until about now that Silva Mounty's crashed out.
Okay, so he'll be concerned for Sullivan, I'm sure, but he'll be pleased. We believe that Casey had a wobble coming out of the previous corner, and that was a reaction save attempt really from Sullivan Mounty.
Yeah, you can just see there checking the damage on his bike, seeing how bad it is. But there is Casey O'Gorman at the front, all by himself at the moment. It's quite a big gap, 4.6 seconds separating second place out of the line, and what a great battle we were getting there.
Yeah.
We will see it, I'm sure, later on today, because of course here at FAB, your qualifying positions decide all 3 races of the weekend. So qualifying so important here at FAB. Yeah, you have to wait and see what Silva Mounty can do when he gets himself fixed up and when he gets the bike fixed up, because Casey O'Gorman looked strong, looked confident.
Absolutely, yeah, but they were very evenly matched as well. So I really hope we get another battle between the two of them in the rest of the weekend. We'll have to get an update on Sullivan and his condition, because he was limping a little bit there, but possibly more in shock than in actual injury. He seemed to be working it off, but it is Luca Allen then, who was nowhere. Oh, is that Luca Allen being passed, essentially?
That's Ronnie Harris there in third place, getting past some back markers there, so Ronnie Harris in third position, in that final podium position.
Very nice indeed. And is that's Sullivan getting back on the bike to presumably limp it back to the pits? I'm not sure that's going to take any further part. We've got 3 laps to go, Lewis. Yeah,
even if he was to take part, I mean, it's a bit too late to make any kind of impact, to be more of a test for the bike, just check everything's running right. But there's Phelps Roviak actually coming for your shot, trying to make a pass. Phelps Roviak, as we mentioned, and an unusual bike, still in the same levers though. So Phelps Roviak on the KTM 85cc, I believe, once again on the 2-stroke. He really goes well on it. We see him usually slightly further up the field, but maybe just taking time and adjusting to his new motorcycle here at Lydd.
We've got plenty of riders still going. This is 8 riders still riding, at least in a competitive atmosphere anyway, for this second race of the weekend for these riders in this particular class. This is the Extreme 200, of course, second race of their weekend.
Yeah, second race of their weekend. 2 laps to go in this race. Casey O'Gorman leads the way. You can just see how confident he is on that Bucky Moto, and in second position is this man here. Look at Alan now. Look at Alan. As I mentioned, I was speaking to him earlier, just talking him through. He was just talking me through his pre-season on that GP2 bike, which will be racing this year. Next week, actually, at Silverstone, the British Superbikes Championship will kick off, where we'll see loads of these riders take part competitively, because FAB-Racing has produced some of the best talents. But 1 lap to go in this race. Casey O'Gorman comes at the final corner to take the checkered flag and to win the race. So Casey O'Gorman, what a strong result that was there. He just shown his pace and just pushed and pushed and pushed and pedalled on the pressure until Silva Mincy made the mistake.
Luca Allen and Ronnie Hannes completing the podium provisionally at least. But yeah, Casey O'Gorman absolutely very, very impressive, very cool under pressure at the lead of the race, and managed to hold off Sullivan. Potentially a hint of a mistake at one point, corner from Casey O'Gorman that led to Sullivan taking to the grass to make avoiding action, and he seemed really, really wound up about it afterwards.
But yeah, what a fantastic race that was. Casey O'Gorman will now pull into the pit lane, and he'll discuss, I'm sure, that race with his dad, John O'Gorman. But it's quite a busy weekend. Casey O'Gorman now just waiting, it seems, in the pit lane, waiting for a way into the paddock now. Some officials there coming to help him and coming to open up the gate so he can push the bike.
He's got a little shortcut to his van there, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly, a little shortcut. I believe that his van's literally just to the right of the pit lane. But what a great result that was. Casey O'Gorman wins the race by 7.3 seconds over Luca Allen. Ronnie Harris rounds out our podium with Philip Soroviak making it all the way to 4th position. So very, very good result. Zach Tureen in 5th, with Noah Gilroy competing in the Extreme 200 class once again in 6th. Adam Redden is in 7th, Ben Ridwell in 8th, and Silva Mincy rounding out our grid, rounding out our race in 9th position. Only 9 riders taking part, but what a great first half of the race we had.
Fantastic. Next up then, everybody, we have got the Extreme 200 race 3 of the weekend, the second race of the day here at Lydd Kart Circuit, and we saw a fantastic race 1, didn't we, Lewis?
Yeah, fantastic race 1 involving Casey O'Gorman and Philip Soroviak was further down the order, but Casey O'Gorman and Silva Mincy battled all the way throughout the race until Silva Mincy crashed on the straight. And now I've spoke to Silva Mincy since his crash and since his off to see how he was and how the bike was. And first of all, he's enjoying the bike. He just says his ego was slightly damaged in that crash. But Silva Mincy, he said exactly what was thought up here, that Casey O'Gorman had a little wobble, and just as Casey O'Gorman looked behind his shoulder, he looked behind the other shoulder where Silva Mincy was, so he couldn't see Silva Mincy, and he had to take to the grass. And with it being a 4-stroke, a lot of engine braking on the bike, so it just meant his rear wheel locked up on the slightly wet and slippery grass, and down he went. So very unfortunate crash, but up to that point, what a race we were having.
Absolutely. A bruised ego has a very easy remedy, I've heard, and that's winning. So I'm sure that's what he's going to try and do here next up. So it's going to be Sullivan Mincy in 2nd position, who is going to be back right on the pace, I feel sure. Big mix of bikes on the grid, and it's great to see these fantastic riders here. Really pushing hard and just coming for the fun of it, really.
Yeah, it really is coming from better things, really, bigger things. But I'm just hearing that Ronnie Harris will not be taking part in this race due to his bike not running properly. We've seen earlier on he was struggling to get away from the line, so a great shame. So it will mean that 8 bikes will be starting this race.
And our start for you then, Casey O'Gorman and Sullivan Mincy, who we saw fighting fantastically in that first race. Then comes Ronnie Harris, who will be missing from the grid. Luca Allen in 4th. Zach Turian will have a bigger gap in front of him than he's used to, with Noah Gullery then in 6th position. We then have on row 4 Adam Redding, Philip Suryak, and at the back of the grid Ben Ridgewell will be the one who will take up the rear, but a slightly truncated 8-bike grid will take us through this Extreme 200s for just 7 laps.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see a great race though. Both the riders on the front row are on the Minimoto motorcycles. It's a 190cc bike. Arrow exhaust system in the rear of Sullivan Menzies. I can see that from here. But it's basically a British Talent Cup race. The lights are on. The lights are off. You can hear the revs there. We're very, very high. Sullivan Menzies cannot get the better of Casey O'Gorman. Casey O'Gorman once again taking the race lead in fine fashion. The Junior GP and Red Bull rookie rider leading the way of the British Talent Cup rider. So Casey O'Gorman showing how strong he is and showing how calm he is. He looks so calm on the bike. But yeah, lap times are so quick, while Sullivan Menzies slightly the opposite. He's a bit wild. You can just see how hard he's pushing, how hard he wants this. It's great to watch for us here in the commentary box and for everyone here at home.
Definitely, there's plenty of action going on in the midfield, but I think Sullivan Menzies wants to get this done very early. The last thing he wants to do, Lewis, is spend any more laps watching the tail of Casey O'Gorman.
Yeah, it's so great to see though these two riders on track together and just seeing them pushing to the absolute limit of these Minimotos. So yeah, it's so great to see Casey O'Gorman leading the way. Number 67 actually doesn't even have the fastest lap. It's Sullivan Menzies who has the fastest lap the first time around. But we'll wait and see what will happen, how the race develops, because you can see Sullivan Menzies always taking a wider line at this back section of the circuit. It's such a quick section of the circuit though, but Sullivan Menzies, the number 4, trying to get into some sort of a slipstream from Casey O'Gorman. Can he make it work? No, he cannot. But both riders slightly wider line. Late apex it out, using all the track and then some, but Casey O'Gorman 41.3, 1/10 faster that time around for Sullivan Menzies.
Yeah, Casey O'Gorman looking super smooth on the bike as well. Absolutely in control, no movement whatsoever, just maximising every little input result, and it just seems like just so much more calm, as you say, on the bike, with Menzies looking that little bit more wild and flexible on the bike, and just trying to make his presence felt here. But again, it's great to see these two pushing each other so hard, and will we see Menzies launch an attack soon?
Yeah, it's a great example of two riders which really respect each other, and two talented riders which we've seen be so successful, both in British Championship and in Casey O'Gorman's case, the European Championship. And you can just see why these guys are at the top of their game at the moment, because they're so consistent, they're so fair, and they're so close. But Sullivan Menzies right now, you can just see trying to get any kind of advantage. You can see the bike just trying to skip and hop, and there he is, taking a wide line once again. Faster lap last time around though by Sullivan Menzies, 1/10 faster, and appears to be the closest battle on the field at the moment is the battle for the lead.
Which is what you want to see, absolutely. Where is Luca Allen? Well, he's only in 3rd position, and he's 2.8 seconds behind this pair. So if they start to battle or have another moment like we saw earlier, Luca Allen will be ready to hoover this one up. But at the moment, it is absolutely a 2-horse race between Casey O'Gorman and Sullivan Menzies. And here he comes, an attempt up the inside, Lewis, but more of a calm. It didn't look like a particularly serious attempt.
I think it looks like Sullivan Menzies thinking about a move, but this is Casey O'Gorman he's doing it on. Casey O'Gorman just didn't care. He still put his leg into the corner, dropped the bike down, and he said, look, you're not going to get past, completely closed the door on him and forced him to back off. If that was a less experienced rider, they might have sat up the motorcycle and then Sullivan Menzies would be through. But on Casey O'Gorman, you're going to have to do something more serious than that, I would say. But you can just see Sullivan Menzies, he's ready to pounce at any type of mistake that we see from Casey.
Yeah, you could throw a blanket over the pair of them as they come through the middle of the circuit at the moment. Menzies just looking around, and he's taking such wider lines, as you mentioned before, but he's still able to put in faster times despite these much wider corner entries. He's looking very, very likely to make a move shortly. This, of course, they miss out the infield section here as they come round the final corner, and Casey O'Gorman holding track position, but having to hold off a great deal of pressure as well. 6 to go.
Yeah, both riders are almost getting their elbows down on these bushy motors, but coming over the start-finish line there, Sullivan Mountsie, his bike was hop, skipping and jumping. He really was using all of the track there, but Sullivan Mountsie, look at him go. I mean, he's just so exciting to watch. Casey O'Gorman, he's almost the polar opposite right now. Casey O'Gorman looks in control. Sullivan Mountsie looks aggressive and is ready to pass, but Casey O'Gorman, it looks like he's going to have to force a mistake, and right now Sullivan Mountie's trying to do that.
Down the inside, no. But again, better angle for Casey, and now they're coming up to some lap traffic, and it's Ben Ridgewell right at the tail, and Casey diving down the inside.
Yeah, Casey O'Gorman trying to get down the inside. No blue flags here at FAB, so it's down to the person behind to get past safely. But there's number 64 still leads. Sullivan Mountsie closes up the gap there actually on the brakes, on the back shift. You can see him slightly shifted up by Casey O'Gorman. Having a little look there, checking he's still there. He'll have a smile on his face a bit, and then they'll come into the paddock and have a good laugh about this, because what a race it's been.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Casey won earlier, but what a fantastic example of absolutely full ball racing between the top two here. That is Sullivan Mountsie, who is really strong on corner exits. It's just the shortness of the straights, I think, especially in the way into turn one, that is truncating his options. He just can't seem to get himself level here with Casey O'Gorman, but I think they're coming up to another back marker.
Yeah, I think they are as well, but Casey O'Gorman having another look at the exact same corner, checking that Sullivan Mountie's here, and that will potentially be playing with Sullivan Mountie's head, knowing that Casey O'Gorman is in control right now and just has a little look behind, check he's there. But Sullivan Mountsie, what will he do? It looks like his final corner might be the place where he can make an opportunity. Try the slightly different line there, slightly wider exit to try and keep a sweeper line on the number 4. But Casey O'Gorman right now still managing to keep in control. He knows how difficult it is to pass around this Lydd kart circuit.
Yeah, and I think they're extending a fair amount of trust to Sullivan Mountsie as well, just making sure that they both can race quite so close together. We do have a stopped racer. That is Noah Gullery, and it seems to be adjusting something on the rear axle, so it may have made some contact with the barrier.
Yeah, Noah Gilroy there trying to get the bike restarted this weekend, racing a KTM 85cc in the Extreme 200 class. But Sullivan Mountsie hard on the brakes once again. It appears no way past. The real question is Sullivan Mountsie just learning and watching right now to see where he can effectively his passing on the last lap? Try it every single opportunity he thinks he has half a chance at.
I can't imagine he will go this entire race length without going for a real bonsai move. But yeah, as you say, just trying to measure his opponent here, who he's clearly got a little edge over, especially corner exit.
Yeah, right now it's Casey O'Gorman who's pushing at the front, but no, Sullivan Mountsie who has all the data from the rider in front. There's more back markers coming. Will they come into play? We come round the final corner to start the final lap of the final race of the day for the Extreme 200 class between Sullivan Mountsie and Casey O'Gorman.
Final lap then, absolutely. It looked like Sullivan was going to dip underneath, and there's a new fastest lap then for Casey O'Gorman. Perhaps just toying with Sullivan Mountsie. There won't be a fastest lap this time. They've had to navigate a problem, another back marker, possibly Bren Ridgewell or Adam Redding, but they're taking very different lines on the way into the final section of the racetrack now. On they come. Opening up the throttle once again, all the way down, and it's the final corner coming up. Can we see a move here from Sullivan Mountsie? Casey O'Gorman just defends to the inside. They will be side by side across the line. He gets it in, closer inside, and wow, 24 thousandths of a second between them. Casey O'Gorman got it, but I think it was on for a potential photo finish at the end. What a cracking finish to that race, and they had us guessing all the way, Lewis. Yeah,
they certainly did. And Sullivan Mountsie, as I said, he had all the data. He knew that final corner was where he had the drive, and he went straight on that turn one. He was going that fast. But look at Alan, set his personal best lap on the final lap of the race and finishing in third place. But yeah, there is your order. Casey O'Gorman, your race winner. What a great race that was between himself and second place Sullivan Mountsie. As I said, look at Alan, third place, fastest lap, personal fastest lap of himself, just 9 seconds off, and finishing ahead of Filip Soroviak in fourth. And Filip Soroviak is such an accomplished rider in the Extreme 200 and the British Talent Cup class. Zach Tureen finished in fifth, Adam Redding in sixth,
Ben Ridwell in 7th, and Noah Gilray rounds out our top 8 on our grid for the Extreme 200 class after stopping midway through the race. So you can see now riders talking, I believe it's Shannon King talking, Sullivan Mincy talking about potentially even who even won, because Sullivan Mincy and Casey O'Gorman, 24 thousandths of a second, you're not going to be able to see that on the bike.
No, absolutely.
But there is Luke Allen talking to some people, and we've seen Felix Robic come for your pitch, as already said. Had a great ride, finishing in 4th. Maybe not where we normally see him, but great ride from Felix Robic.